Why do so many people feel like alcohol helps them sleep, even when it's quietly doing the opposite? It makes the body feel heavy. It makes falling asleep easier. And for most people, that feels like proof it's working. But inside the body, something very different is happening. Because alcohol doesn't improve sleep, it disrupts the systems that make sleep restorative in the first place. And most people never notice while it's happening. Sleep is not just about falling asleep, it's a structured process. The body cycles through different stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, each with a specific role. Light sleep acts as the entry point. The body begins to slow down. Heart rate drops, muscles relax, the brain starts to disengage from the outside world. Deep sleep is where the body repairs tissue, restores energy, and regulates hormones. REM sleep is where the brain processes memory, learning, and emotional balance. For sleep to feel refreshing, these stages have to happen in the right balance and at the right time. The body isn't just trying to stay unconscious, it's trying to move through a carefully timed sequence of recovery. Alcohol disrupts that sequence almost immediately, even when it feels like it's helping. When alcohol enters the body, it acts as a depressant. It slows down brain activity by enhancing a neurotransmitter called GABA, which creates that relaxed, sleepy feeling. At the same time, it suppresses glutamate, the chemical that keeps the brain alert. This is why falling asleep feels easier. The brain is being chemically pushed into a slower state. But this isn't natural sleep, it's sedation. And sedation does not follow the normal structure of sleep. The brain isn't moving through its natural stages. It's being forced into a suppressed state that mimics sleep from the outside, but doesn't function like it on the inside. At first, alcohol seems helpful. Sleep onset becomes faster. The time it takes to fall asleep decreases. But what happens after that is where the problem begins. Because alcohol compresses the early part of sleep, it increases light sleep while reducing deep sleep quality. The body enters sleep, but not in the way it's designed to. It skips the normal progression, and that changes everything that happens next. Deep sleep is where the body does its most important work. This is when growth hormone is released, when muscles repair, when the immune system resets. Researchers have found that even a moderate amount of alcohol before bed can reduce the amount of slow-wave sleep the body produces. The technical term for the deepest and most physically restorative stage. Alcohol interferes with this stage. At first, it may slightly increase deep sleep early in the night, but that effect doesn't last. As the liver begins breaking down alcohol, the sedative effect fades. The body shifts into a lighter, more unstable sleep pattern. Deep sleep becomes fragmented, the quality drops, and the body loses the continuous recovery time it needs. So even if total sleep time looks the same, the actual recovery is reduced. You fall asleep faster, but the sleep you get is weaker. The biggest impact shows up in REM sleep. REM sleep is where the brain processes emotions, builds memory, and resets mental function. This stage is also connected to creative thinking, problem solving, and the ability to regulate mood the following day. Alcohol suppresses REM sleep in the first half of the night. This means the brain doesn't get the processing time it needs during the window, when REM sleep is supposed to be most active. Then later, as alcohol leaves the system, REM sleep rebounds aggressively. This leads to more vivid dreams, interrupted sleep, and sudden awakenings. The brain is trying to catch up, but the timing is now disrupted. Instead of smooth cycles, sleep becomes unstable. The brain delays recovery, then rushes to fix it at the wrong time. This REM rebound is one reason people often report strange or intense dreams after drinking. The brain isn't dreaming more than usual, it's trying to complete the processing it missed earlier in the night. And because it's happening later, the sleep that results feels less stable and less refreshing. One of the most overlooked effects is that alcohol increases micro-awakenings. These are brief moments where the brain wakes up for seconds at a time. Most people don't remember them, but they break the continuity of sleep. The body never stays in deep or REM sleep long enough to complete the work those stages are designed to do. This is why people wake up feeling tired, even when they think they slept through the night. The clock says 8 hours. The body says something different. Alcohol also disrupts the body's physical sleep signals. Normally, body temperature drops before sleep. This helps trigger deeper sleep stages. Alcohol initially makes the body feel warm, but later causes temperature to fluctuate. Heart rate increases. The nervous system becomes more active during the night. Instead of entering a calm, stable state, the body is constantly adjusting. This internal instability is happening below the level of awareness. The person isn't waking up. They aren't tossing and turning in a way they'd notice. But the body's systems are working harder than they should be, and that effort comes at a cost. Alcohol also relaxes the muscles in the throat. This can partially block airflow. Breathing becomes less efficient. Oxygen levels can drop slightly during sleep. For some people, this leads to snoring. For others, it increases the risk of sleep disruption patterns. The body has to work harder just to maintain normal breathing, and that adds more stress to the system overnight. For people who already have mild breathing issues during sleep, alcohol can significantly worsen them, turning manageable disruptions into serious interruptions that affect the entire night. All of this leads to one outcome: sleep that feels complete but isn't restorative. Energy drops, focus becomes harder, mood becomes less stable, and over time, the body starts to feel like it's always slightly behind. Not because sleep isn't happening, but because it isn't working properly. The most important part is this: alcohol doesn't just affect sleep while it's in the system. It changes how the body organizes sleep itself. The architecture of sleep, the order, the timing, the depth gets disrupted from the very first hour, and the effect is subtle. The signals show up during the day: lower energy, slower thinking, less motivation. The body is not fully recovered. Regular alcohol use before bed can also affect the brain's baseline sleep patterns over time. The brain begins to rely on the sedative effect to fall asleep, and without it, sleep becomes harder to initiate. The quality of sleep goes down, but so does the ability to sleep naturally without it. This is one of the more significant long-term consequences that research has continued to explore. Sleep is not just about one night. Each night builds on the last, and when the architecture is disrupted repeatedly, the effects accumulate. What makes this especially important is that many people who drink regularly before bed don't feel like they have a sleep problem. They fall asleep quickly. They stay asleep. From the outside, everything looks fine. But the data tells a different story. Sleep trackers, lab studies, and overnight monitoring consistently show that alcohol-affected sleep produces less deep sleep, less REM, and lower overall recovery, even if 2-hour sleep time appears normal. So what does alcohol actually do to sleep? It shortens the time it takes to fall asleep, but weakens every stage that makes sleep effective. It fragments deep sleep. It disrupts REM. It increases awakenings the body doesn't remember. It raises heart rate, disrupts temperature regulation, and reduces the quality of breathing. And it keeps the system from entering a stable, fully restorative state. The body still sleeps, but it doesn't fully recover. And most people never realize why.